Hello, and welcome to Disaster Recovery and Backup with Google Cloud VMware Engine and NetApp. Today, we're going to be going over how NetApp and Google Cloud are working together to help customers in their journey to migrate into cloud. We're going to go over specific use cases where NetApp and Google Cloud are working together to be able to easily accelerate their migration to cloud and how it can address backup and disaster recovery, specifically utilizing our Google Cloud VMware Engine service and some of NetApp's services and capabilities within Google Cloud. And then we're going to go over how you can get started today with the capabilities that are available. So my name is Wade Holmes, and I'm a solution manager that's responsible for our VMware as a service offering within Google Cloud VMware Engine. And with me today, I have Jeff.
Thanks, Wade. Hi, I'm Jeff Tudor. I am the Director for Global Cloud Solutions here at NetApp, working to bring NetApp's suite of software into Google Cloud, the #1 cloud for all of the hyperscalers.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about NetApp and Google Cloud and what we're doing together. So NetApp is very proud to be a partner with Google Cloud to basically bring the world's #1 storage OS into GCP to help customers bring an enterprise data fabric from their data center into GCP. So a little bit about NetApp. We're about 27 years old. We focus on one thing and we do it really well, and that is bringing an enterprise data fabric with all the data management features that companies expect in their own data center. And this comes from about 2,800 patents that we hold and 38,000 customers. And we manage their data with great integrity and great protection, and we take great care and pride in that. But now as companies are moving into GCP and moving into the cloud, they really expect that same level of care of their data and capabilities and protection of their data on-prem, that they want that in the cloud. And so we're helping drive that in our software suite there. We've invested to be the #1 infrastructure technology partner for Google Cloud, and we've won the awards in 2018 and 2019 for being that technology partner of the year. But relevant to this conversation, we're also heavily invested in VMware, and a lot of VMware, thousands and thousands and thousands of customers use NetApp to host their VMware and their vSphere environments. So that's a little bit about NetApp. Let's talk a little bit about Google Cloud. Wade?
Thanks, Jeff. So Google Cloud has realized that there's not a one-size-fits-all solution when migrating to cloud, and hence we've invested in bringing to market our Google Cloud VMware Engine. And this, we think, is the best place to run VMware workloads. And not only because of the service, but because of the capabilities of Google Cloud overall, whether it's our security and network and owning our own global backbone, we have global availability of the service, and being able to tie in our innovative AI and ML capabilities. But I'll talk more about the Google Cloud VMware Engine a bit later. Let me turn it over to Jeff, and he can talk about how disaster recovery and backup is growing and how we're addressing this.
Thanks, Wade. And it's very relevant. Why is cloud-based backup and disaster recovery growing? And what can we do in GCP to accelerate your journey and bring the benefits of cloud-based backup and DR into the environment? So first, it's just business continuity planning. It's becoming standard. It's for regulatory compliance and just for good operating procedure. We have seen examples of where business continuity can impact the full economies and of countries. And so it becomes more important than ever as there's more surface areas for attack. They need to be locked down, but you need to have secondary copies of that data, but you also need to have full DR capabilities so you can almost have a replica of your own site environment in a cloud. And Logic Monitor states that companies with frequent outages have 16 times higher costs than companies with fewer instances. That basically just tells you, it's nothing surprising, but it shows you the magnitude of unpreparedness, the magnitude of cost of unpreparedness, and it's further amplified by the studies that show a minute of downtime for enterprises can cost $9,000. And that's before thinking about all the downstream costs to your customers of not having that uptime, your brand reputation, and these types of things. So, it's becoming from a luxury into a necessity. And most companies say that cloud is absolutely playing a role in their data protection strategies. For some, they're used to have maybe a secondary data center that they were leasing. They want to consolidate that data center. And wow, Google Cloud brings an amazing capability to now have that secondary data center on demand if you're still running on-prem workloads. So let's talk about data protection and some of the goals that you might have. First, you want to protect against data loss. Data is the lifeblood of an organization. You need to have multiple copies of that. You need to protect it from threats inside and out. And second, you want to prevent downtime of your organization so that you can continue your transactions, so your customers can get access to their data, and so that your organization can operate. So what are some of the examples of things that are driving for data protection? Well, regulatory requirements are more and more prevalent. Business policies that board of directors set. Data corruption is something that we have seen cause massive outages, and you just have to protect against it at all costs. Human errors, which are very common, maybe they're accidental deletion. Worse, they could be intentional deletion of data, as we've seen. Cyber attacks, they're happening every second. It's a very unfortunate, but it's just a cost of doing business these days. Ransomware attacks that have you've seen in the news. These natural disasters, hurricanes, fires, flooding. We've seen data centers lost in flood-prone regions and hurricane regions. We've seen data centers be surrounded by fire so that people can't get to them. So you also have just planned and unplanned outages. An example is, hey, we have a maintenance window. We're going to do maintenance on the switch. Something goes wrong with that switch, and now you've got an extended period of downtime for something you couldn't foresee, and you're waiting for a part in your data center, and nobody has access to their systems. These are really bad examples, but you read about them in the news every day. So what are some of the solutions you can do to protect against these? One, of course, having an archive or an offsite copy of that data, very critical, not only for compliance and retention purposes, but simply also for being able to retrieve it in the case of where you've had a natural disaster. Having a backup of that copy, this 3-2-1, 3 copies of your data, 2 readily available, 1 completely offsite. We'll talk about how we can achieve that compliance and achieve that best practice with NetApp and Google Cloud. And ultimately, disaster recovery, where you're not just protecting your data, but you're able to now start up your environment and run your environment, have access to your data, run the virtual machines, and fully continue on with your business, even in the case where your primary data center might be down. So now that we talked about the data protection strategies, let's get to the heart of the conversation. Wade, I'd like you to tell folks a little bit more about GCVE.
All right, thanks, Jeff. So Google Cloud VMware Engine, or GCVE, is quite simply the easiest way to migrate your virtual machines into cloud, and we think it's the best place to run VMware workloads in cloud. So this is a fully owned and operated Google Cloud service. You access it the same as you access any other Google Cloud Platform service, going out to console.cloud@google.com. And at the same time, this is a service that has been fully verified and certified in partnership with VMware. So you have the assurance that if a workload's run on premises in a VMware environment, it's going to run in the same or even better state in Google Cloud VMware Engine. So this is a dedicated private cloud environment that gives the best of both worlds in being able to leverage your same operational posture, your same technology stack as you would on premises, but then have access to the additional native cloud capabilities that exist in Google Cloud, such as our data analytic capabilities, our AI ML capabilities. And then when you look at specific use case, such as disaster recovery, this is where our partnership with NetApp can really shine in addressing the DR use case. Because as you look at, and Jeff, want to go to the next slide. as we look at disaster recovery, there is a compelling benefit in utilizing Google Cloud VMware Engine, because this is potentially an on-demand service where you can spin up and spin down your private clouds as needed. So you can consume either pay as you go, or you can commit to specific resources. So you're able to now maintain a DR posture, and we'll talk about how we integrate in with the NetApp Cloud Volume ONTAP to be able to provide that full DR solution. But you can now have a DR target that is only utilized during an actual DR test or a DR event, so that you don't have a secondary data center the entire time, or you don't have to have the full posture of compute nodes running at the 365 days a year. You can scale up or scale down your environment as needed on a burst demand, and for your DR events. As you can see, that can provide a compelling cost benefit of 20% or more compared to having an on-premises DR solution where you have to maintain data centers.
Thanks, Wade. And the key part to taking advantage of this amazing platform that Google has built with GCVE, for a NetApp customer, if you're on-prem, one of that 38,000 or so that are running NetApp on premises, you're running your vSphere environments backing with ONTAP. We're bringing a great capability, and that's what we're talking about today, about Cloud Volumes ONTAP running in GCP. So Cloud Volumes ONTAP is the operating system of our filer. It is ONTAP. It is the storage OS, the environment that does all the data protection, snapshots, flex clones, et cetera, all the great things that you've come to trust, encryption and management and operations capabilities, Terraform APIs, all the wonderful stuff. But the key thing here is you can now use CVO as a storage platform for GCVE. And what this lets you do, most importantly, is scale your storage independently from your compute. So we're going to talk about how having a replication set up between your on-premises environment, NetApp, and your CVO in the cloud is going to give you this ability to have your data protected at all times, and then cloud burst to do a DR in the cloud by spinning up the GCVE, connecting that to CVO, and then having your full environment replicated in the cloud. We call this kind of a zero footprint DR. You're only replicating your storage. You're not replicating your VMs until such time as they're needed to do a DR failover and run that. So as we mentioned, Cloud Volumes ONTAP is a fully fledged feature of ONTAP that's running inside of your Google project. So it's running on your compute instance. It's using your persistent disk, Google's persistent disk, but in your project. It's tiering into object storage. It's effectively your own dedicated appliance, but it's a software-based appliance that's running inside your project. It's a pay-per-use model, so you can spin it up in the Google Cloud Marketplace today. We'll give you those links at the end of the presentation. You can get started in minutes. You can have that filer operating in the cloud with all the features that you get with full ONTAP, consuming your native Google Cloud services in your project ID. We're supported in all regions. So no matter where you are in the world, you are supported with Cloud Volumes ONTAP in Google Cloud Platform. And we're all deployed and managed through the NetApp Cloud Manager. So it's a wizard-based deployment mechanism. You don't have to be an expert to deploy it. You just need to be able to follow a web-based interface, and you can get up and running very quickly and start replicating your environment into the cloud. What does this bring to you? Well, it brings to you 6 big advantages. First, you've unified your data with a multi-protocol system. Okay, it's a mouthful, but what it means is if you have NFS, if you're doing data stores on NFS, or you're mounting Linux on NFS, or you're just using the NFS protocol, we of course support that 3 and 4. You have your SMB protocol for your Windows applications. And so we support that. So you have now a multi-protocol platform where you can create shares for Windows, for VDI. You can create shares for NFS, for different applications in your data center, and also for file shares, obviously. It's very flexible, so the data stored is independent from your virtual machine storage, so you can kind of scale each independently. It's enhanced security, so we have customer managed encryption keys, or or encrypted volume policies where you can use your own key to manage that with KMEP. We also have integration with NetApp Cloud Insight to do ransomware detection. So we've got some really advanced features for that, including things such as backing up into object storage. So you have a copy of that file system completely offline, or a copy of your VMDKs offline. So even if you have a crypto virus, you can always restore those that are not written over. You have this auto scaling, which is really cool. Saves you money because it's thin provision. We provision the persistent disk just in time. So if you provision a 20 terabyte volume and you just start writing to it, you're only going to see 500 gigabytes or so of actual persistent disk consumption. And we're going to do deduplication on top of that. So you get super space efficiencies. Very efficient snapshots because we're only storing the changes of that snapshot, and then you can have sharing and object storage. So in a large volume, maybe 80% of your data is not touched in 30 days because you have a lot of snapshots and user directories and things like that are just kind of being tiered into object storage, and then you have your hot data hot. So if you choose to, you can take advantage of that fabric, and that allows you to save money. Now you're getting the storage at 2 cents per gigabyte, right? So you can really take advantage of some big storage efficiencies. We're multi-tenancy, so you can have governance for all of your vSphere environments, and we've got this data mobility because the SnapMirror technology that's inside of ONTAP now allows you to go SnapMirror from on-prem into the cloud, and then from cloud region, maybe the Netherlands, and you can snap into the secondary region in the UK, or you can go from east and west in the US, North Asia, it doesn't matter. Wherever there's a Google region now, we can do data mobility and data replication. So you can have really good capabilities there. And in July of this year, of 2021, we're introducing cloud compliance. So when you back up your storage, we can also scan for PII or personally identifiable information. So it allows you to do better compliance for data that you're storing. So we're even bringing that capability. So now we've talked about what the technology is. Let's go and do a double click into those use cases. 3 main use cases we're going to talk about and go into today. First is this DR on demand. It's the zero footprint DR, so that you're only replicating your storage, you're reducing your cost. Second one is your vSphere environment backup. Now that's this 3-2-1 policy. So you have one that is in object storage and protected against accidental or intentional overwriting in the cloud. And then third is protecting your virtual desktop infrastructure. So all of your employees and your users that are coming into your environment through VDI, now you can have that VDI environment replicated for DR into GCP or into GC VMware Engine. And that allows you to recover your applications and your compute shares in minutes, and also take advantage of this cloud backup service, so it's protected in object storage, so somebody doesn't click on a virus and then have this replicate into other users. You can go back and restore from object storage and be back in business in minutes. So how does this work, right? What's the magic here? Well, the magic starts with the NetApp filer on premises that is talking ONTAP. You launch a CVO instance in the cloud through Cloud Manager. It takes a few minutes. Now you have your CVO instance in your project. You create a relationship, a sync mirror relationship, and I'll show you how easy it is to do that. It's literally drag and drop. And you say, I want to go from on-prem into GCP. You can select your region, and you're going. And you're now replicating asynchronously or at scheduled intervals. All of this is being block level deduplicated. So over the wire, it's a super efficient protocol. All of those changes are replicated at the block level in real time into your GCVE CVO instance. Then when you need to do a failover for some reason, maybe it's just a test that you want to do once a quarter to show compliance, or maybe it's because there's a hurricane coming or some other incident that you want to do a failover, or an unexpected incident. You fail over, you attach your vSphere environment to that CVO, which just looks like another data store, right? You're attaching that vSphere environment or GCVE environment to that CVO data store. And now you can boot all of those VMs and all your guest shares. They're there. They're instantly available. And then if you want to continue operating in GCVE, maybe you want to migrate, maybe it's just a longer term, it's going to take longer term to bring your primary back on site. You can also vMotion those into your vSAN environment to get yet even higher performance on the vSAN capability and the data protection SLA. So you've got a lot of capabilities here just to do a DR on demand, or also to promote your instances into full-time operation into GCVE. So as I mentioned, it's a very simple, we try to make this as simple as possible. On the left-hand side in the little green windows, you'll see those are GCP CVO instances. In this particular user, they have dragged from that grayed out cloud, their on-prem environment. They're dragging it over their GCP environment. In the middle, that creates the relationship. Now you're syncing in real time. And then secondly, in Cloud Manager, which is a free account, by the way, anybody looking at this webinar can go and sign up immediately. There's no cost to do it. And then you have your backup to cloud capability so that you can say, hey, I want my CVO now. I want to set a backup policy into object storage. And so that's how you can get that 3-2-1 copy all in a really easy to understand interface. Now with Cloud Backup Service, what you're doing, if you see on your left, your own premises data center running on your NetApp filer, you're replicating the Cloud Volumes ONTAP, you're taking your snapshots, and then you've set the backup policy so that it's going into Google Cloud Storage. Some of the built-in features here, obviously snapshots are going to protect against data corruption and human error, and they're very fast. They happen instantly. They're non-disruptive. We can even do application consistent snapshots for SQL Server and other databases all built into it. It's really, really great. For disaster recovery, you're protecting against natural disasters and major outages. And really the advantage we talked about is you're just replicating your storage, you're using your compute on demand, you're saving yourself thousands of dollars a month. And then backup, you're protecting against data loss, ransomware, and regulation. And now I have this 3-2-1 fully implemented. I have an air gap copy that you can't overwrite in your Google Cloud Storage. And that has 11 nines of durability. It's phenomenal capability within GCP. And it's very fast, the fastest object storage that we know about in the clouds for this cloud line capability. The Horizon and Citrix and DVI we just talked about, it's kind of a take on this the base level capability, which is now I've got my VDI environment. Maybe you're running Horizon, VMware Horizon View. You've got Citrix or your VDI of choice that's running on premises on top of vSphere. Now you've set this replication, this SnapMirror capability up, and you can instantly get back all of your data stores, your Windows servers, and your guest file shares and your user profiles. Now those are available to be accessed instantly, and then your users can reconnect into that your VM or your VDI environment in the cloud. So really cool case. Also, by using our cloud backup storage, now you can protect against accidental end user overwriting of their shares or crypto viruses in their shares, because all of your user profiles and file shares can be backed up into object storage at the policy of your choice. So now you've got a lot of degrees of control and protection over your VDI environment. So I'm going to turn it back over to Wade, because we've talked about 3 things that you can do today. So we want to help you get started today. Wade?
All right, thanks, Jeff. So one of your first questions may be, where is the service with this awesome integration with NetApp available? So Google Cloud VMware Engine is available globally in 12 regions today. And you can see the regions that are regional data centers. And every region that has Google Cloud VMware Engine available can access this integration with Cloud Volumes ONTAP that's been mentioned. So also, how do you get access? So NetApp provides a 30-day free trial for Cloud Volumes ONTAP. So you just need to sign up at this link, and you can start to deploy this solution in a GCVE environment that can also be consumed on demand as needed. And then you can also get hands-on through a demo lab that is available, and you can have the links here, and you'll receive an email after webinar for details. And of course, there's a plethora of information out on the web, whether it's the Cloud NetApp site or the Google Cloud VMware Engine product page. We have a GCVE cheat sheet to go over this and other use cases that can be utilized. Of course, Google Cloud Platform has a number of options that can allow for when migrating compute workloads, and we have a COO guide for application migration that talks through all these different options. And then if you're a partner of Google Cloud and NetApp, you can access our partner advantage for partner specific collateral about this solution and service. So I want to, on behalf of myself in Google Cloud, I want to thank you. And Jeff, thank you for being here with me in this webinar.
Thanks, Wade. I'm really happy. We're very proud to be partnered with Google and working with you and your great team with GCVE. Very excited to kick off this today about the marriage of CVO and GCVE. Very excited, and we look forward to helping all of you that are looking at this webinar today in your journey to Google Cloud, the #1 cloud.